Wasn't that a beautiful padam? It was equally, if not more beautiful, to learn the padam and the moments that we had behind the scenes. Come, join us as we talk a little bit more about those. Akka, I really enjoyed learning and then performing this padam with you. It's been a while since we danced together thanks to the pandemic. But this Naika, she was a bit different, isn't she?
Yes, my dear. I totally enjoyed teaching it to you and, of course, challenging you to perform it so quickly after learning. Yeah, you're right. See, heroines are never really cast in their own molds in a separate way. There's always a crossover of each heroine. This one, as you can make out, is not a Mugdha. She's a Pragalbha, fairly experienced, maybe a slightly older heroine, and more than anything else, in the course of the Shringara heroine, she is not. She is not truly Vipralabdha because she's not sure that she has been deceived, nor is she purely Virahotkanthita because there he is right in front of her. So she's a bit of a cusp between two of the heroines, two of the Naika Bhedas there in Shringara. And what is interesting is that there is a slight flavor of the mild Khandita as she is leaving, because she mentions the other woman, which would seem to indicate that she knows that there is somebody else, but she hasn't really been speaking about her. So she's a bit of a mixture in the way that the Naika is portrayed. As a Shringara Naika, she's an interesting character.
A while ago, I had done another padam, and while that was also in the Madhur Bhakti, this one felt quite distinct. Kshetragna padams are quite different, aren't they?
Yeah. Padams are actually, as a genre, they're all the same. But how they are treated, what the content, the impact the content has on your depiction will be a little different. And you had done a Yedirillade. That is a straightforward, very beautiful padam, but there really aren't very many hidden philosophical depths of meaning in that. It's a happy, direct sort of conversation, information that you're getting from the heroine about her loved one. Kshetragya padams are in a way the touchstone of Abhinaya for dancers, because they are based in deep philosophical meaning, number one. Number two, their tempo is really, really slow. And somewhere in that slow tempo, there has to be the holding on of that emotion, the expansion of that entire feeling, that moving from one thought to another while holding on to the previous one in a much prolonged manner than most other padams demand from the dancer. So yes, Kshetragya padams are different, and they are challenging, and they are beautiful to do.
Yes, I remember you telling me how the classicism in terms of the music is also evident in that it is in the Ghana Raga and it's also in the Tishra Triputa Tala. So Akka, are all Kshetragna padams in the Tishra Triputa?
Yes, one of the main facets of Kshetriya's compositions is the classicism, the absolute classicism of the music, the rare ragas that he picked up, and the way that the content was laid out. An interesting point about Kshetragya that I'd like to tell you here is that he was not called Kshetragya originally. He was born Varadaya, but he was a great devotee, and as a devotee he wanted to visit the various kshetras of the Lord and the various devotional points, and he went from kshetram to kshetram, gleaning knowledge about it and becoming an expert on the presiding deity of that particular kshetra. And that is how he earned the name of Kshetragya, someone who knows the kshetras. Obviously, with somebody who has this sort of knowledge and this sort of devotion, what his compositions would bring to the forefront would be the absolute pure distilled form of that bhakti. And that is why his compositions, as you mentioned, I mentioned to you, are soaked in classicism. As far as whether all of his compositions are in Tishra, no, but a large number of his compositions are, and I think it has to do with the fact that that format of the talam allows for a slower tempo, and Kshetragya's compositions, as I told you, are in the Vilambit kalam. They are meant to be experienced even as you are expressing. Each of his compositions has that flow, that stretching of the feeling, so that the entire gamut of expressions can be put forward. If you remember, I also did Valapudasa some time back. That was another of these really beautiful compositions, but that was not in Tishra, that was in Mishra Chapel.
These padams really are something else entirely. So, what are some of the other Kshetragya padams that Attai has choreographed? We saw Valupu a couple of weeks ago, performed by you, a visual treat in itself. What are the others?
It would be an impossible task for me to tell you all the padams by Kshetragya, because he is credited with over 4,000 compositions, and in fact I think more than 1,000 padams in any case. And Attai has choreographed, I know, Bala Vinave, Tamara Saksha, Kutila Kuntali, Manchi Dinamo, Valapudasa Nerini. These are the ones that I, from the top of my head, can tell you I know that Attai has choreographed. And interestingly, a number of them are in Tishra. If you really want to know how to identify Kshetragya Padam, though, he has, because he was a devotee of Gopala, and he belonged to Movapuri, so he has his mudra somewhere in any one of the charanams in his compositions saying Mova Gopala. If you hear the phrase Mova Gopala in a padam, chances are it has been composed by Kshetragya. So yeah, I mean, there are interesting anecdotes that are linked with all these great composers.
Akka, I for one am really enjoying these Super Solo Saturdays because they are so educational. There is so much to learn. We are watching each other dance, we are growing as dancers, we are learning so much, and most importantly, we are seeing so many of Attai's choreographies in one place. Is this what you had in mind when you started the whole Super Solo Saturdays thing?
What I really had in mind was to engage meaningfully with all of you while we were all in this, locked down phase, but somehow it has grown as a vision, and it has grown to include so much more. We've been so blessed to see our teachers participate in this, my friends outside of Kinkini Dhwani who have joined us in this journey, and I would love to think that we can create little repository of Attai's choreographies, danced by us, by our teachers, by all of you who are learning from us in the Kalakshetra tradition, and thereby share with the rest of the world who are not all able to come to Kalakshetra or to view everything from Kalakshetra. Though I think right now Kalakshetra is doing a brilliant job of sharing so much with the world outside through the digital platforms. But yes, we would like to put in our little bit into it as well, and if it has helped and if it is educational, entertaining, just a joy to watch, I'm happy, because for me that matters. Having Attai's choreography seen, recognized and shared matters. So yes, you could say that it was maybe not a well thought out vision, but certainly that would be a blessing that I think Attai could shower on us if this becomes, like I said, a repository of her choreographies performed.
Thank you so much, Akka, for this very educational and very informative session, because otherwise we don't generally have access to such highbrow literatures. So thank you for that, and thank you all for joining us today. We will see you next week for another Super Solar Saturday with yet another rendition of one of Attai's masterpieces. Do stay tuned. Namaskar.